everybody, it's Khristina from Redefine Creative, and I am super excited to be back with my friend Sara Scraps for our second projects using our paper person kits. So we both subscribed to the paper person kits for the upcoming year, and so we thought it would be fun to show you guys what we are doing with our kits. So we are going to be here twice a month throughout 2021. We also have my friend Suzanna, who's going to be joining us starting in January as well. So if you guys happen to get these kits, or even if you are just looking for inspiration for your stash, I hope this helps. So this is one of the pattern papers that was in the kit as like an extra 12 by 12 paper. And so I've split it into a 5-inch and a 7-inch section and put them back together just on some cardstock so that I can have the diagonal stripe on part of it and then the floral on the other part of it. And I really love that combination of stripes and florals. For some reason that just, I don't know, speaks to me lately. And I have two 3x4 photos that I wanted to use on this particular layout. So it's talking kind of all about winter coziness, I guess you could say. And so I had gotten new slippers for Christmas, and we had gotten all this new bedding, and it's super, super soft, and the puppy has kind of claimed it as the most comfortable thing ever. And so he will, he wants to spend all of his time curled up on the bed on the fuzzy comforter. And so that's kind of what I'm documenting in this particular layout. And I'm pretty much going to stick to the kit itself. So I really like these kits because they are small, so they are super budget friendly, but they give me just enough to make a few layouts. So I think I have enough supplies left for maybe one more layout and then maybe some traveler's notebook spreads. And then they also give me these really great stamp sets that I can add to my stamp stash and use throughout the rest of the year. So I'm going to take my two 3x4 photos and I am mounting them on white cardstock, and then I have that pinkish color pattern paper. I'm using that to put another small layer behind my photos. And then I'm going to take the cut apart sheet and use that to create some more layers as well. I know I want to use that little December circle, and I really like how the pink kind of coordinates with the florals. And so I'm going to kind of head in that direction with some more of my embellishments as well. I kind of liked this darker, like brownish colored 4x6 card, and I thought it made a great layer behind my photos. And I am going to end up overlapping it just a little, but it kind of draws your attention to my photo cluster, and it's going to give me a really great place to build some embellishments on top of, which I felt like I kind of needed in this particular layout. I'm going to take just a little piece of this pattern paper that was left over I used on my last layout and combine it with my notebook edge punch. And so that's just going to give me another fun little texture that I can tuck into my clusters as well. And then I'm just kind of looking through everything else, trying to decide what else I want to include. And I decided to take a little teeny tiny strip of this stripe paper and put that in the division between the middle of my two different patterns. And I really like the little pop of color that that adds. So it's a really simple little detail, and you could do this with any collection, but it adds just a little detail. So it looks very intentional when you put your layout together, having that little tiny strip of pattern paper. And so then I went ahead and fussy cut this little like leafy tree, I guess you could say, from one of the cut apart cards. And I'm going to tuck that in as one of my embellishments. And then I also had just some leftovers from the layout that I made earlier in the month. So I went ahead and took my tag punch and created a couple little tag toppers. So I'm going to do one with this green, and then I'm also going to do one with that same pink that I used to back my photos here in a second, so that I have another little tag top. And I'm going to tuck those in where my two photos kind of meet up there at the top. And I'm just kind of trying to keep all of my embellishing and everything kind of centered right around my photo. And I fight for a little bit, which you guys are with me, right? You fight for a little bit with my letters to find an alphabet that I really liked with this particular layout. So I tried these like bigger patchwork type alphas, and I really like these alphas, but then I felt like it was too big. So you're gonna see me, like, I was gonna cut this part of the video out, and then I was like, no, I think I should keep it because I want you guys to see that those of us here on YouTube go through the same like design decisions you guys do, where we're like, oh, let's try this. No. Okay, let's try this. Nope, that's not working either. So I settled on these green foam alphas from Amy Tangerine and spelled out the word cozy. And then I'm going to use these little like tannish colored ones, I guess, to spell out the word feeling. So my title is going to be Feeling Cozy. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of put these layers together. So you can see I have some embroidery thread on my desk, and I'm going to use that for a couple of different things. So I'm going to use that to put in the tops of my tags. And that is not something that I often do. And I keep seeing Crafty Jen Scow use embroidery thread to do like her little bows on top of her tags. And so I was like, today I want to try that. So I'm going to go ahead and get my little cluster going here down underneath my photo. And I'm going to take some of that thread and fight with it for a minute or two, because that's what happens when you're creating and things don't want to go where you want them to go. But I'm going to fight with it for a minute to get it exactly where I want it. But basically, I'm just looping it around the top of that embellishment cluster just to add some extra texture to that portion of the layout. And it definitely fights me. It does. It fights with me for a little bit, but I win, so it's okay. And I'm just going to tie it in a little knot, and I just want it to look like I've kind of like bundled up all of those embellishments and tied them together. So even though everything is glued down separately to the page, it just, I don't know, adds a little extra down there at the bottom. And it's going to continue that element over, because I'm also going to take some of that embroidery thread and create the little bows on the top of my tags. So the green tag is going to get the little pink bow, and then the pink tag is going to get the green. And I just kind of loop it through and then tie a little tiny bow at the top. And so I'll play around with that here for a minute, but then I'm going to tuck those into my embellishment clusters up at the top. And so that's going to bring that element of texture from the bottom of the page up to the top of the page. So this is a pretty simple, like, overall design. It will work for pretty much anything. You could also use the same design going in the opposite direction to create a layout with like your pattern papers going horizontally instead of vertically. And I've done that before too, and it's also super cute. So lots of different options about how you can use this particular like layout style. And then I went ahead and grabbed these chipboard hearts. So this is, I guess, something that I'm adding in from my stash. The light pink and kind of the orangish brown color are going to be the two that I pull out. And I'm just going to scatter those in all kinds of clusters throughout my layout. So they're going to kind of be tucked in where I already have embellishments going on. So I've got 4 down there around my title, and I've got 2 up there at the top right now, and I'm going to end up just keeping going. And so you're probably going to wonder, I'm like, I may have went on heart overload, but we'll see what you guys think. So I have the Cozy stamp set, which is one of the stamps that was an add-on for this particular kit. And I'm going to go ahead and take just one of those little circle stamps, and I'm going to stamp it with my Daydream Catherine Pooler ink on some white cardstock, and then just fussy cut around it. And it just says Homebody in the middle, which I thought was really cute. And I wanted it to overlap my photo on the top. And the reason I'm adding that element is because I have that circular December down at the bottom of my like photos and embellishment cluster, but I didn't have a circular element up at the top. And I wanted that to kind of continue throughout the layout. But then I'm like, it's smaller than what I wanted for the space that I have. So I'm going to take a little piece of this pink paper and tuck it kind of down in behind. So it's just adding an extra little layer and pop of pattern back there. And I decided that also needed that notebook edge trim on it so that it was kind of continuous, I guess, with the look on the left-hand side of the photo. Holy moly, guys. Words are hard. It's so funny because I do so many live videos over on Facebook now and not as many process videos. I feel like I get on here and then I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I talk about? Because over there, like, I'm chatting back and forth with you guys and it's all like happening live. So over here, when it's not happening live, I'm like, okay, Like, we need a question of the day or something that I can chat about so that I have something to say so that I'm not boring you to tears. So this is where I kind of go with the chipboard heart explosion. And so I add all the hearts to the top. But I actually end up thinking it looks super cute having all of those extra hearts up there. And that's basically going to do it. So that is going to finish up this layout. Do make sure that you head over to Sara's channel to see what she is doing with her paper person kit this time. And we will be back next month with the new December kits. Bye, everybody.